This is the single craziest De'Aaron Fox update yet, as a new report from a French reporter indicates that De'Aaron Fox is already in the process of getting a house in San Antonio, and this has been going on behind the scenes for a few months as Brian Wright is trying to link up Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox on the Spurs. That French connection from Victor Wembanyama is giving us some very interesting insight. We got to dive into the official report, what was said, and some other big updates, including one from Shams, as De'Aaron Fox has doubled down that the Spurs are his preferred destination. We got all that to get into coming up on this episode of Spurs Digest. As always, though, quick reminder, 3/4 if you are not subscribed. We're so close to 4,000 subscribers. If just a fraction of the viewers of this video hit that button, if you want to stay up to date on all the latest De'Aaron Fox news, all the latest news on everything San Antonio, this is the spot to be. It's completely free. Let's dive into the video. And you guys probably saw that graphic. De'Aaron Fox is looking like he wants to go to San Antonio, and he's already eyeing a house, maybe the one even in this picture, but we'll get into that in just a bit. But before we do, I want to start out with some of the new reports that came out this morning, and I want to start with this. Evan Siddery tweeted it via Shams Charania with the latest on De'Aaron Fox. This just confirms what we heard yesterday, but now it's officially out of Shams that the Spurs are indeed Fox's preferred trade destination. Fox would be opening to signing a new long-term contract with San Antonio. Sacramento is now open to trading Fox due to his continued reluctance to commit long-term. And I do want to say, De'Aaron Fox has not officially requested a trade, but this is coming from Sacramento, who feels this is the time to move De'Aaron Fox, says they don't want to wait until the offseason because they want to get maximum value. If you trade him in the offseason or next year at the deadline, you're not going to get nearly the return. So just a reminder that this is not Fox necessarily asking for a trade. This is the Kings believing, hey, if we can't keep him, we might as well trade him now. And Fox doubling down, I want to go to San Antonio. But there's more to the story than just this. I mean, first of all, the fact that he is doubling down and Shams is coming out and saying this, like, this is where he wants to go is amazing in and of itself. And you guys might be wondering, like, why is it San Antonio? I think maybe not everyone is up to date on exactly why. Part of the reason is because his wife, Reese, I believe it's Reese. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, but she is from San Antonio. She used to play basketball, and she's married to him, right? She's known to be a great person, stays active on social media. Now, she was out there last night responding to some people. She was pretty active on Twitter saying, hey, Fox hasn't asked for a trade, but she did say that, hey, if the team thinks this is the right move for him, that's that. So this confirms, like, basically, this is why De'Aaron Fox wants to go there. His wife has big ties there. Obviously, it's not only that. A lot of it has to do with Victor Wembanyama, but, I mean, like, this guy, it's just crazy to hear that, like, again, it's been a long time since a player has made it clear that San Antonio is their preferred destination. I mean, we did see it with Wemby. Obviously, the dude was so thrilled when he saw that he was going to the San Antonio Spurs, but when was the last time a big name wanted to be traded to San Antonio or wanted to sign in San Antonio? I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge was a free agent signing many, many years ago now, but you know, this kind of thing doesn't happen often for the Spurs. Now, I've heard a lot of people give their pros and cons to De'Aaron Fox. I'm not going to dive too much into that again in this video. We did a big video yesterday on the original report, so if you want to check that video out, go check it out on the original reports from Shams. But again, I'm looking at this, 25 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, that's all good. But the big report in this video actually comes from an unlikely source, and that is Maxime Aubin. And Maxime Aubin, he is, he's a French reporter, and from what I can gather, he only has about 2,500 followers on Twitter, but from what I understand, he is a pretty reputable French journalist who is basically sent at times to be in San Antonio to help cover Victor Wembanyama. So from all the validating I could do, this is a legitimate source that should, in theory, be trustworthy. He said, according to a reliable source in San Antonio, De'Aaron Fox and his family have already been working behind the scenes in recent months to prepare for the player's arrival with the Spurs. It is now up to the negotiations between the two franchises to succeed. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. The original tweet was in French. He translated to English. Let me go check out the article. So here's the article in French. And I know there's a lot of French viewers out there. You're our second biggest demographic behind the United States. And you guys might not know, I do speak French. So I can translate this for you. Basically just saying, you know, there's an all-star, maybe going to San Antonio, talking about De'Aaron Fox. But the big thing is the entourage of De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings s'est rendu à plusieurs reprises à San Antonio, has been to San Antonio multiple times in the last few months to prepare for the details about a possible move-in, basically, a possible installation in San Antonio. And he just goes on to say that all that's left is for the two sides to come together. So his article, I can confirm, as someone who reads and speaks French, This works. Yeah, thanks, French viewers. Hey, if you want to hit subscribe for my French knowledge, I can fully speak it. So maybe we can do some French Spurs updates in the future, though. Hey, maybe Spanish too. I speak a bit of that. Anyway, that doesn't matter. This is a real report. And this to me is honestly kind of insane because this is weird to process almost, because if this has been on the go for the past few months, that opens up a whole nother can of worms with what's going on behind the scenes. Like, maybe it's because his wife wanted a home in San Antonio and it's not necessarily about the Spurs agreeing to this whole thing. I don't know if the Spurs are working with De'Aaron Fox to try and find this home in San Antonio. That's where it gets a bit blurry. I would assume not. I would assume that would be considered tampering. Maybe it's just a case of his wife wants another home in San Antonio to be closer to her roots. That's very possible. But if it's Fox's entourage who's been there to try and say, hey, like, maybe we can make this happen, to me now, that raises a whole lot of questions on the trade front. Because once again, like, you only have a certain amount of leverage, right? If you're the Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox is not going to extend, but he hasn't demanded a trade, especially like he's probably okay, again, based on tweets from his wife even, staying in Sacramento during this push if they don't find a suitable trade for him. But if he's made it this clear that it's the Spurs, like, that complicates things not only for the Kings, but also for the Spurs, because, if the Kings are looking for other trade partners, these other trade partners are thinking, well, if he's already going to buy a house or build a house in San Antonio, why would we want to trade for him? We're probably not going to get that extension. So I'm wondering now how many other teams are actually going to be able to trade for De'Aaron Fox. Because if it's clear that he just wants to be in San Antonio, if he's already started that process, then the Kings probably won't be able to get a deal done because teams are going to want a long-term extension essentially guaranteed with Fox. And look, I'm not saying that it's only possible for him to go to the Spurs, because actually the betting odds still have Miami as number one, and they have the Minnesota Timberwolves tied with the Spurs. Look, regardless, the Spurs have probably the best trade package anyone could give for Fox, whether we talk about Castle or we talk about Vassell, that's up to you. But right now the Spurs have a great trade package. De'Aaron Fox wants to be there, and I think that kind of handcuffs the Kings, but it also kind of handcuffs the Spurs. I don't know. I'm a little concerned about this update, if I'm being honest. Maybe I shouldn't be. I should probably be taking it as a good sign that maybe, like, hey, the Spurs, like, hey, he wants to come here. He's only going to come here. You don't have any leverage anymore, Sacramento. Give him to us. But now if the Kings are hearing that, maybe they're less likely to trade him if there's more behind the scenes stuff going on. I don't know. Am I thinking too much into this? I think I probably am. And I want to hear all your guys' thoughts, because this is such an interesting situation. This report caught me way off guard. One of the crazier things that we have heard on the De'Aaron Fox front in this entire saga, since Shams has said that De'Aaron Fox is probably going to be traded and he's likely to go to the San Antonio Spurs. So let me know your thoughts on all this down below. I feel like I was even a bit incoherent for this last part of the video because I don't even know how to collect my thoughts on a report like this. But again, go verify Maxime Aubin, because based on my knowledge, this should be reputable. So anyway, don't take my word for it. Take his word for it. This is crazy. Let me know your thoughts down below. That'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, guys. Like I said, almost at 4K. The support's been incredible. We got a ton of news coming up towards the trade deadline. Thank you all so much for being here. I've been your host, Josh Gosse, and I'll catch you in the next one.